What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are doing a Super 7 playlist episode on Los Angeles punk and hardcore. Also, tomorrow we're going to release the pre-order information for the new Retaliate LP that is coming out on December 4th on Indecision Records, so check that out. Make sure you follow 185 Miles South on Instagram or all the other social media stuff. It'll be there. Please support the pod by subscribing to it is the easiest way. So you get it every week. You don't forget about it, and tell your friends and your family and whoever else you know that may be interested. Also, if you have the time, please give it just a like, and review it. That shit goes a long way. It is much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, please go to patreon.com/185 miles south, and you can become a monthly Patreon and help out the pod. $1 gets behind the payroll. The $1 gets you behind the paywall. But if you can kick in more, that is awesome. And I'm trying to do special Patreon episodes for basically anytime we have an interview. I'll get a couple buddies together. We talk about the interview. I curate a playlist, and we talk about that stuff. So it's pretty rad. And let's get on with the pod.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are doing a Los Angeles punk and hardcore Super 7. Helping me out. You know him. You love him. He's episode 1. He's the legend, Joe Rivas. What's up, Joe?
Hello. Hi. What's happening?
Also on the pod, you know him. You fucking love him, too. It is Daniel Sant of Over My Dead Body. What's up, Daniel?
What's going on?
And
Let's do it.
you know him. He's the only guy that's gotten shouted out by Chuck D on social media. He's turning over a new leaf. It's Ben Edge, a.k.a. Bedge. What's up, Bedge?
What up? How's it going?
All right. Now, we did the draw already. Daniel, can you say the order, please?
Yeah. Let me pull it back up.
Okay. And just for anyone that hasn't listened to this before, we're building out 7-song playlists. And we go in order, and once a song is chosen, it cannot be chosen again, although a different song by the same band can be chosen. And go ahead, Daniel.
So the order is me, then you, then Bedge, then Joe.
All right. So, Daniel, let's kick it off.
Not a curse.
Yep. Okay, Daniel, let's kick it off. What is your first pick? Los Angeles punk and hardcore.
Nervous Breakdown, Black Flag. Woo! With Keith singing.
All right.
7-inch version.
Yep.
I mean, all I need to do is just say it. I don't need to justify it because you know it. You love it. It's like episode 1. It's just classic material.
Yeah.
I think it's, an incredible song. It's an awesome expression of frustration. There's that, I can't remember what documentary it's on, but where Keith is explaining like what it's like to go to a show, like your boss has been giving you shit all week and your friends have and blah, blah, blah. And then you want to go like hit your brains out. It's, slam back then is what they were saying. But it is such a really good representation of like the world being like crushing you down and you just feeling like, it explains how we all feel in 2020. Very, very close to all having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. It's perfect pick. It's a pick that should have gone first. It's like justified of that. So
yeah. If any one of us had been pick one other than me, I bet you the same song probably will still have been picked.
Yeah, Joe, anything you want to add on this one?
It's brutal and started the wave. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1979.
At least, yeah, the West Coast version of it, should I say? There were other bands that existed already, but especially the whole EP, the 7-inch, just catapulted what was going to happen for the next, here we are still talking about.
Yeah.
So
it goes from punk to hardcore in this song. You know what I mean?
Bedge, what do you have on
Totally.
this?
SST number 1, man. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, the story behind it is that Greg Ginn wanted Bomp Records to put it out, and they were like, "Oh, what is this?" And so since no one could put it out, he started his own record label, and it's like that's kind of the story of how a lot of record labels form. No one wanted to put out Bad Religion records, so Epitaph Records is started, and it's on down the line. And I used to know this guy Brendan Mullen. He died about 11 years ago, but he's the guy who wrote the story of. He wrote this great oral history called "We Got the Neutron Bomb: The Untold Story of LA Punk." He co-wrote it, and he said that when he was at a party, and one of the guys in Black Flight came to the party, and it was in Hollywood, and these guys are outsiders. They're like Hermosa Beach guys. And and I don't know if it was Greg, but he brings the 7-inch, and there's a record player at this house, and someone puts it on the record player, and Brendan Mullen just can't believe his ears, and he just stands in front of the record player and plays the record over and over and over again while this party is happening behind him. And he's just like, I can't believe how good this is. How could this exist? And I didn't know about it until now. And it's like, it deserves all the credit it gets to this day.
Do you think he even flipped the record? Because like that first side is just
I think
there was breakdown. It's like I could listen to it a million fucking times, and I love that. Like that they didn't even out the songs. It's like this is a single, but then because you're a band, like you want to get as much material on it as you can. So then it's like let's pack side B with more songs. It's like they didn't do the traditional 45 of like one song, but like they made it a note like. This is a fucking single,
Yeah, when you're putting it out yourself, you're like, here, get as much of us as you can,
Right. All right.
And haven't we all felt like the guy on the cover of that record? Although I think his butt is drawn a little strange.
All right.
My butt's a little strange.
I'm sure we're gonna touch on this band plenty more on the pod. So I got the number 2 pick. Now, it's funny that Bomp got brought up because I'm choosing a band that did a record on Bomp, but I'm going the Danger House 7-inch, and I am going the Weirdos. We Got the Neutron Bomb. And
God damn it.
What the fuck? You had to take it first. There's 2 fucking songs. And like,
I know.
I was kind of hoping that you would choose first so you could choose for me because I might like Solitary Confinement even more, to be honest with you. But like, this is like the age-old punk question. Like, what side do you like? Do you like We Got the Neutron Bomb or do you like Solitary Confinement more? And there's no fucking wrong answer, but I thought it was going first. I won the lottery. I'm taking We Got the Neutron Bomb. This song, when it comes in, you're fucking fired up. Dun, dun, dun. It's like every part of this song building up just makes you more fucking psyched. Like all the way through it. It is a perfect fucking punk rock song. If you haven't heard it, dig it out. It'll be in the playlist for the episode. And it's absolutely perfect. That's all I can say about it. Bedge, what do you have on this?
Totally agree. 100% perfect song. It sounds huge. And it's like one of the great kind of like coulda, shoulda, woulda moments in punk was like, if only Inside Out had recorded an album instead of an EP so we could have gotten all their songs. And it's like, if only the Weirdos had recorded a full-length album in 1978, like during this session, like if only we could have gotten like 8 or 9 or 10 more songs that were this good, that sounded this good as the We Got the Neutron Bomb and Solitary Confinement. My dad's friend made me a cassette of mostly LA punk when I was getting into punk in the late 80s, and this song was on it, and it's just like, the earliest stuff you like is always going to stick with you the longest, and kind of doesn't matter. If I heard this song today, it would probably blow me away. So but it has that added value of being something I heard when I was in like whatever 4th or 5th grade.
Right. And it's I'm glad that you brought up the recording since I didn't, because you're right. It just sounds fucking huge. Like for 1978 to get like this sound is fucking amazing. Like it's so full and like unfuckwithable. Like, I don't know, like you couldn't do it better today. It's fucking perfect. And like there aren't a lot of things you can like put that label on.
And it's got that nihilistic sense of humor that is, runs throughout LA punk, which other scenes never really had this in the same way, Yeah, we got the neutron bomb. We can kill everyone and leave buildings standing. Obviously, they're being, sarcastic, but
right,
that was a real thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of wild, like, that outlook, like in the Carter years, like it's only going to get worse, dude.
Right.
Everything
Totally.
you feared is going to happen. Just wait for the fucking 80 election. Daniel, you got anything on this? Or are we going to wait until you pick solitary confinement if it's open?
I mean, this is the one out of the two I would have chosen. And I just love the San Clemente light artwork, and I don't know, just it was in the height of the Cold War, in the height of Red Scare and nuclear fear, as well as turning it on ourselves. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a clever, catchy, sing-along punk masterpiece.
Yeah. Joe, you have anything on this?
Just stoked that, Cliff is still playing music with Tony now, with, Ill Repute Tony.
Yeah. We should say he's in a band with Tony Cortez of Ill Repute called the Robot Uprising, which is awesome. You should check out their song on the Nardcore for Life compilation. Go to indecisionrecords.com right now and order that second press. It's the split. It's Cardinal and Gold, Oxnard High School football rules. What's up? All right, let's go to number 3 pick, Ben Edge.
Oh, here's my dog barking. Great.
If the dog barks anymore, then you're losing your third spot, and we're bumping up Joe, so you can go on mute.
Yeah.
All right, Droopy, shut up.
One more bark, and we go. One more bark, and the spot's
Black
lost.
Flag Revenge. Black Flag Revenge. Black
Okay.
Flag Revenge.
All right. Go on.
Now, think about this. So, Nervous Breakdown is recorded in 78, comes out in 79. This is Black Flag's follow-up. Different drummer, different singer, totally different sound. You have Greg Ginn starting to do doing the weird, guitar lead things that he's known for. And you have Robo on drums, and he's doing, these kind of weird beats. Dude, shut up. But I always tell people, if
He doesn't agree with the pick.
Yeah, he's pissed. He wanted me to pick Blink 182, but they're San Diego, so they're not. I always tell people if I had only one song in which to illustrate what hardcore music is, this is the song. It's like, this is hardcore. This is the platonic ideal. This is the center of the target. It's like the most vengeful, angry song ever written. It's anti-cop. There's that great speech that Ron Reyes does in The Decline of Western Civilization before they play this song about, this goes out to the LAPD. They arrested us for playing punk rock music. And I distinctly remember breaking my bed, pretending to stage dive to this record. I think I'm not the only one who's done that, right? I mean, jump on your bed like as if you were stage diving.
No, not at all. I think back in the webcam days, Zach and I had discussed it back in the day,
right?
AOL style.
But this is the one that actually broke the bed.
Yeah, that's a weak ass bed. You were like 95 pounds, dude.
Oh, at most. I was a little kid. But my friend Josh Landau ended up with Greg Ginn's. He used to play through a PV head. It was like a PA, but he played guitar through this PA, and that's the sound you hear on all the Black Flag records, I think, starting with this one. And somehow Josh ended up with this, like the actual thing. I mean, it belongs in a museum. And I went to his house and I played Revenge through it on one of his guitars while he played drums along, and it sounded exactly like Black Flag. You know, it sounded like this, even though I wasn't playing through like a clear Dan Armstrong guitar. It absolutely sounded like the Jealous Again EP, and it was like, oh my god, I've been teleported back to 1980 and whatever.
Speaking of California and museums, did you know that you can go see the bear from the flag? It's like in the basement of some museum in San Francisco.
From the California flag?
Yeah. Like it's preserved. You should Google it, dude.
I thought
It's very interesting.
It's a drawing though. But isn't it a drawing?
It's based off an actual bear though.
Oh.
Like a single bear. Like you know, like an artist like paints something. Like, yeah, it's a painting, but it's also a painting of a dude. You know? Anyway, Black Flag rips, and this is the best record. Joe, what do you got on this?
Yep.
It's 58 seconds long. That's all.
1 second for every pound Bedge was when he broke his bed. Daniel, what do you got on this?
What's that?
Oh, compare this to the song that you chose.
I mean, they're both ripping. I can't even. I mean, Nervous Breakdown's better, but
Debatable.
I mean, it's just anger, like set to music, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Again, I'd slap the perfect label on this. Let's go to the Nard Curse spot, number 4, The Legend, episode 1, Joe Rivas.
All right. So, you know, I'm just gonna do it this way. I'm gonna take "Did You Want to Die" from Youth Brigade off Sound and Fury.
Yeah.
That song, we first heard it. So when I say we, I mean John Winstead and myself, you know, Burning Dog guys. In the Bones Brigade 1 video, because we were skaters and we got that video like the week it came out, and there's these songs in there, and we were just, you know, starting to dip our toes into that punk thing, trying to figure out what that meant, and we just fell in love with that song, man. It's so good. It's you know, it's super clever. The musicianship of those three brothers is, you know, is hard to match, especially for punk back then. And Sean's voice is just fucking beautiful. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, and this is
on and on.
This is a song that is on the current version that you can buy. Like when they re-recorded this LP and they cut some of the other songs and put this out. So I didn't have to be cute and say, is it the version that was recorded at Mystic or is it the other version? Because this was only on the second version of Sound and Fury. And it's sick. Ben, what do you have on this?
I remember that skate video too. That was Steve Caballero doing a contest at Del Mar, I think. Maybe, well, I don't know where, but
Miguel and Cab.
Oh, it is Miguel and Cab.
Yeah, both of them are in the session. Yeah.
Yeah, this song is great. A Youth Brigade is God. I actually don't have a preference between the two albums, between the re-recorded album and the original version. I mean, I know this song is only on the second version, but like that's a good age-old question about, you know, what do you prefer, DC Youth Brigade or LA Youth Brigade, or Sound and Fury version 1 or Sound and Fury version 2?
LA version 2.
LA, no preference. Yes, LA definitely. Although my favorite song by either band is About Time That We Had a Change by the DC Youth Brigade, but by far the LA Youth Brigade is the better band.
Yeah, you know, there's actually a sick bootleg that took the songs from the first session that didn't make it on the second one and just made a 7-inch out of it. So it's pretty rad. It's a cool bootleg. Does anyone have...
Yeah, I know who did that.
Oh, sick. Does anyone have the first version on LP?
No. Not
No,
on an
no.
LP.
I just have a bootleg of it. I don't have an original. But yeah, sick pick. Stoked to get Youth Brigade in round 1. And Daniel, do you have anything on this, or should we shoot it back to you for your second pick?
Well, the one thing I will say about Youth Brigade is I loved that we got a document of how much they thought about punk and hardcore, like how much it was like a vehicle of art as well as a vehicle of, aggression and passion. It was really well thought about, and I love that they're just a triple threat, like all in the same family, all in the same band.
Yeah, I would say that Another State of Mind, it was as inspiring to me when I saw it in the 90s when I was getting into punk as it could have ever been. So like,
Oh yeah,
I hope that people still discover that movie and feel the same way. So if anyone listening to this has not seen the documentary Another State of Mind, you need to look it up and watch it, and shoot me an email and let me know how you feel about it, because it is one of the greatest documentaries, not just of this genre, but like, I guess for people that love this genre, like it just really resonates and hits home, and it's just everything good about punk. It is so rad and like all encompassing. And, with a lot of the interviews of older dudes I've had on the pod, like you'll notice that, while they might have sonically liked a lot of the late 70s bands, what they really connect with is like that DIY ethic and like the people doing themselves. And like, I think it was whoever mentioned it that, SST1, like this Black Flag putting out their own records. This is like Youth Brigade putting out their own records. This Bad Religion putting out their own records. This, Minor Threat putting out their own records. Like that shit is so fucking inspiring. And like, that punk ethos can like run through your life and like improve your life, make you a better person. It's something that like you can take out of this genre that makes it so tangible and awesome. And that documentary is fucking amazing. Daniel, let's go to your number 2.
okay. I've got a lot of great stuff still in play, but I'm going to take this before somebody else does, because this is the song that I want by this band more than any other song by this band, and I wouldn't be happy if I didn't have this one. So I am going to take Bike Age by Descendants.
You motherfucker.
Yeah, I would be bummed to have to settle for a different Descendants tune compared to this one, because this is so much head and shoulders above all the other songs, for the melody, for the seriousness of the lyrics, for the beautiful way that the song starts. I mean, it's a masterpiece. It is an absolute masterpiece of punk rock songwriting. And
that bass line, dude.
Yeah. The bass line, incredible. It's almost a jangly guitar, at the beginning. And, I like lots of bands that have jangly guitars. Such a serious topic that when you're a young kid hearing this for the first time and you're singing along to it, and you're like, it just, for a second, you're like, whoa, selling your body for another fix. Like, who's going to take you? I remember that band you became friendly with, because IC like played with them on tour a bunch, Holding On. When they came to San Diego, they covered this, and I did the Wayne's World We're Not Worthy afterwards to one of the guys in the band, just like, you guys killed that song, and thank you so much for doing it. Like,
they killed
it was so great.
Yeah,
they did.
They did it so good, because that band was like a really good band, but they were pretty loose, like in their delivery of like how they played hardcore.
Yeah.
But then like to do this song, which like, I don't know, it just requires like a little bit of precision to do it properly. And also like a lot of times when bands do covers, they speed it up too fast and it like really loses like the soul of the song. They fucking nailed it, dude. Like, oh, it was so good.
And I'd say there's about 60 or 7, maybe 65 people in the Che that night. I think 64 people were singing along. Like it was that unifying of like even the people doing the door run inside to like participate. That's what the power of this song is, you know?
Yeah, the only dude
Everyone
not
was just
singing
like-
along like had the merch money. You know, he's like, oh, I can't leave the stool. You know, I'm bummed you got this
Yeah.
one, dude. I'm really bummed because I wanted this really bad. I was going to take it next, but now I got this as my number one Descendants, but I got three more. And Bike Age was definitely number one. Everything else is tied for number two. So I'm taking this my number 7. Joe, what do you have on Bike Age?
Well, the Descendants rule, and I don't think, especially, you know, from all back, like, you can't go wrong with any song. I mean, they all fucking rule. So, but Bike Age is probably up there, top 2. It's not the one I chose, though. So I'll still get mine, unless you choose it.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off because I got 3 more. I got 3 in the fucking canon, and I'm okay with any of them. Ben, what do you got on this song?
I suspected that it was the bass player who wrote the song because the bass line is so distinct, and I just looked it up, and it's actually the drummer who wrote the song, Bill Stevenson. But it makes sense because apparently every song he wrote on the bass. So there you go. Yeah, it's like one of the best Descendants songs. It's on my favorite Descendants album. I guess this band, it makes sense that they didn't blow up right away because they broke up the minute this record came out because Milo went to college, and then they get back together, and then they get, you know, all the accolades, the well-deserved accolades. But you know, this is kind of like ground zero for proto pop punk, I suppose. And there's really no band in that genre who has done it nearly as good since, I would argue.
Not the mid-tempo drivey version, you know, of like.
Well, you did mention Blink-182, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even close.
not in the same ballpark.
Not in the same universe.
Yeah.
Oh, the documentary is really good, though. Everyone who hasn't seen Filmage, it's the documentary about the Descendants and all.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah, it was really good. My number 2 pick, this goes against my strategy because this is another band that I have 4 songs for. So I could have taken it wherever. And again, I had like a number 1 and then 3 that were tied for number 2. So I'm going to take it just because I love it. And this song changed my fucking life. I'm going Bad Religion, Do What You Want. I've talked on the pod before. This is the game-changing album for me. It's the album that got me into punk. And this fucking song, when you discover it when you're like 13 years old, it's so short. It's so catchy. It's like, you know, Bad Religion has lots of like big words that I still don't understand, but here's like one where you can understand it like very viscerally. And dude, I just remember like listening to this song over and over and over, and it was on cassette. And so like that is like an extra level of commitment. Cause like when you want to listen to the song again, you got to rewind it and you like miss it. Like, oh, I got to go back further. Oh, I went back too far. Oh, like, you know, and like to listen to it over and over. It's not like CD or digital where it's like, boom, start it over. Boom, start it over. You know, and I swear to God, I probably listened to it 15 times in a row the first time I ever heard it. And it was the greatest thing I ever heard. It still is the greatest thing I've ever heard to this day. So maybe strategically the wrong choice in this like exercise, but I had to fucking have it, dude. So Bad Religion, Do What You Want off the album Suffer. That is my number 2 pick. Joe, what do you have on this?
Yeah, Suffer, such a fantastic record. This was my number 2 song, so I still get my first, hopefully. Yeah, everything you said is exactly what I think of when I hear this. Is just like that pissed off, fuck you. You know, I got this myself, and it's inspiring to a kid because you're going through those times where you're distancing yourself and all that kind of stuff from your parents and, you know, authority in general. But they do it in a smart way. because his lyrics are always so smart. We'll just use the same word. So yeah.
Ben, what do you have on this?
It's funny, not until recently have I been looking up to see who wrote the Bad Religion songs, because it's pretty much 50-50 Greg Graffin and Brett Gurewitz. So I'm always curious to see, who did what. And this one, I just looked it up right now. Actually, can you guess, Zach, between those two guys, which one of them wrote this?
There's pretty big words in the song. I'm going Greg.
Brett wrote the song.
Oh.
Did he write the lyrics?
Yeah. I think it's when Greg writes a song, he writes everything. When Brett writes a song, he writes everything. Yeah. I think it's usually how it works.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I guess it makes sense because he's got the pretty honed in chorus, right? So. Yeah,
what did he say? Go to hell like Superman. Go to hell with Superman. So great.
Yeah, hey. But yeah.
So good.
Sick. Daniel, you got anything on this?
Bad Religion is just were the standard bearers for what later became everything Epitaph, everything Fat Records, because they fused melody, catchiness, and a certain sound that instantly made everyone sit up and take notice. That's why there are so many copycat bands, because it captures your attention like unbelievably.
Well, they mold all that and keep the speed, right? So it's all that plus speed.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's what the genre they birthed is, because everyone's like, oh, this is still fucking punk as fuck.
Right.
But it is like a top 20 hit at the same time,
Yeah, and Joe, since you got the fourth pick, we'll give you the Smelly shout out. So go ahead. Well, I'll just take it.
Is it my pick?
No, I was going to let you shout out to Smelly, but I'll do it. Shout out Smelly. All right.
And shout out Noodles, because Noodles probably copies Bad Religion stuff too.
There you go. All right, let's go to Bedge with his number 2 pick.
My number 2 pick is Beverly Hills by the Circle Jerks. That's from their 1980 album Group Sex, their first album.
Beverly Hills,
on Frontier,
Century City. So good.
Yeah. Now, this is one of those things where it's like there's 2 songs that are connected to each other, that are always connected to each other, and it's I Just Want Some Skank Going Into Beverly Hills. And so Beverly Hills starts with this verse, which is like a skank part. It's got the dun 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 dun. And if you think about it, this has got to be like the first, I guess Bad Brains have a few songs with breakdowns in them, but like kind of around the same time. Circle Jerks are doing the skank part, and it becomes kind of a standard thing in American hardcore by at least the mid 80s or late 80s. You always got to have a slow part in a song. So I think it's kind of like, when I hear Screaming at a Wall by Minor Threat and they do that slow part in the middle, I think to myself, are they doing Beverly Hills? Like, I don't know. I could, if I'm in a punishing mood, I could email Ian Mackay and ask him. He probably responded to it. He'd probably be like, I never thought about it. Maybe. But I remember me and my friend in junior high loved the Circle Jerks so much. We opened up the white pages and looked up Keith Morris and called his home number. And he was so fucking cool. He talked to us for like an hour over the phone. We're like, hi, we're in 7th grade. We like your band. And he'd be like, why aren't you out playing football? He actually said that. Why aren't you out playing football? I've since become friends with him, and he's like a great guy. But another great thing about the song is that it's making fun of such a shitty city, which is Beverly Hills, just full of stupid rich people, and there's nothing good about Beverly Hills. So fuck it.
You know who's on the pod, Ben? You could have gotten away with taking both. We would have let you, but but
I didn't want to do what you do. I wanted to be a bigger man.
You're blaming me for Daniel's moves. That's fucked.
Oh, I thought that was you, Zach.
I just sat here quietly enjoying all of this with my popcorn.
Yeah.
Wait, Daniel does the two songs that connect and then picks them both.
Hey, you got
I
to
did it with It's Clobbering Time, remember?
Oh, okay. Well,
That was
then
like
my pick is I just want some Skank Beverly Hills.
That was like the fourth time. Nope, you got Beverly Hills, and that is a 6-second pick. I love this. It was on my list. Joe, what do you have on this?
It's a fantastic song. It's it's great. It's the first full LP after Keith left, and like, okay, what's he gonna do? And then you get this, and that's I can only imagine what that was like to hear this. Like, holy shit, yeah, he still got it.
Yeah, he brought the heat. He brought the heat.
Yeah.
Daniel, you have anything on this, or should we go to Joe?
I've got a couple of the choices, but this is the song that when you think about LA hardcore, like actually name checking LA, and it's the kind of thing that would be the music over on a documentary, like an LA in this time period was, and then it starts name checking the places,
Hell yeah. Yeah. All right, Joe, let's go to you for your number 2.
Number 2, I can't do the laugh, but Suicide's an alternative. You'll be sorry.
Yeah.
Suicidal Tendencies, self-titled.
We got to drop in the Greg laugh right there.
I had it isolated, and then my hard drive crashed. So shout out to Greg.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Greg, though.
I remember you did, but yeah. So the song is, or song. See, Ben, I'm sticking too. You can't separate these songs because it doesn't ever separate. There's no like pause in the music or anything. So, it is just one song, in my opinion. But we've talked about this a whole lot on the pod because of the laugh and because of just how game changing this sound was. From the ludicrous speed. It's not really a blast beat, but it's close to it, at the beginning, and then it goes into the sort of groove chunky thing at the end of the song.
Is that groove infectious?
Yeah, something like that. But
it's like if you hit a punk related dad joke, sorry, it just tickles me.
Yeah.
This is about as iconic as it gets, right? It starts a whole sound. It's like teases of what they become to. It's so
good. Yeah, and it's the opening track that just like, all right, here you go. You ready? Buckle in.
Yeah, you ain't ready for one of the greatest American hardcore LPs of all time. So fucking good. Bedge, what do you have on this?
Sick of life, it sucks. I love the call and response. The two guys doing the lyrics off each other. I'm a sucker for that. Like we talked about that with Course of Disapproval, doing that, and I may or may not have a future pick on this very episode that does that same thing. But I think of this album as kind of the tail end of the glorious, 1977 to 1983 run that LA had, where at any given time there are like 30 or so A-level bands all operating simultaneously in LA County, which is just like, it's hard to imagine because I was a little kid when I missed it, but this is like, it's like the only Suicidal album I like. I know you're going to hate me for that because you love later Suicidal Tendencies, but it's like, it has kind of like the metal shredding guitar, but it's still pure hardcore punk. And then I think that the scale kind of tips further into metal later on. But like this combination of just like being enraged with the shredding guitar and the tempo changes, there's kind of nothing like it. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that kind of hits all those things like this album does.
There is absolutely nothing like it ever again. It's like, I'm not trying to compare this, but a lot of the things I talk about on the pod, like, oh, I love this one album because there's nothing that ever sounded like it before or after. I mean, it's the reason why I love that Powerhouse record that I talk about so much on the pod. Like, it is just like a moment in time of just fucking chaos that like is never replicated. And like this thing it's like the original blueprint of that. Like, okay, let me create this perfect fucking crazy LP that like just no one can ever do again. Like, including them, right? You know, it's like
Yep. That's right.
kind of in a way like, you know, Ben, you'll probably hate this, but like the first Hatebreed record, you know, it's like they created the greatest album of all time for the sound once and never did it again. Like they could never do it again. Like that type of music in those like truncated short songs, like where it's like you're hitting this fucking shit and pulling it off in like a minute and a half song. Like no one ever did it again. You know, the closest was like Terror, you know? But yeah, this LP is fucking perfect. And this is great because, you know, choosing like the first song off a record, sometimes it's like you almost get credit for the whole record because when this song comes in, like you get the feeling of knowing like the ride that you're going to go on by like listening to this whole thing. And this album is a fucking journey. You know, it's got a few songs that are like really long, you know, it's like I'm gearing up for the whole thing. It's got the short blasts. It's got like the long ass songs. It's got it all, you know? And I won't go too much more into it because I'm assuming there'll be another pick or two. But yeah. Joe, did you want to finish on this before I shoot it back to Daniel?
No.
Okay. Daniel,
We're good.
Daniel, what's your number 3 pick?
It's all about strategy, isn't it? Like, I've got so many choices on here, but I don't want an LA hardcore and punk list without this song on it. So I'm going Lexicon Devil, The Germs.
Yeah.
Which version?
Oh.
From the LP.
LP version. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because that's what I've played almost all my life, you know. I feel like Darby Crash and Sid Vicious to an extent on the same level, but Darby Crash gets a lot less credit for being an actual brainy person because, you know, they're washed up like self-damaging personas are out there, but lyrically, dude is fucking up there. Like, I know it's very straightforward hardcore, but lyrically, these are really clever lyrics, and this song in particular. And then add the sheer ferocity of the song and the catchiness at the same time. I mean, it's a brilliant song, and it's so in the fabric of what you all know from punk and hardcore now that it almost warrants me requesting everyone listening to this to go back and just listen to the song as it is without knowing, oh, I know that Germ song. Like, actually just listen to it like you're listening to it for the first time. It's a fucking 360 degree dunking banger. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, respect on going 79 instead of 78, going for the newer version. And I just want to add, so Daniel, you always talk about like layouts and shit, and this is just fucking iconic album cover, right? Yeah. So simple, so iconic, and it's like, I don't know, when you knock something that like simple out of the park, it's like no one can touch it again. It's like that's the Germs record. You see that circle, like you think of it. I remember my friend in high school, Phil Tibbs, he had this Outspoken shirt that had like a big O on it, and he used to like get really mad at me when I'd be like, "Sick Germs shirt, dude," you know. But yeah. Ben, let's go to you on this, or should we wait until you pick a song?
Well, no, let's talk about this song.
Go ahead.
I love the Germs. They're one of my favorite bands ever. And they're kind of like, when I think about, you know, you always like Zach, you can all relate to this. Like you think about your hometown and like what is like the band for your hometown? Who's your who's the quarterback of your home team? And like the Germs for me are like the LA band.
Burning
Agreed.
Dog,
I agree.
motherfucker. Burning Dog. What's up?
What happened?
Sorry.
But Darby Crash, it's true. He apparently he wrote lyrics with the aid of a thesaurus, but so what? Like everyone has access to a thesaurus,
and
like
everyone has done that.
knock yourself out.
Because you don't want to be. The majority of people are using a thesaurus, so they don't just repeat the same words over and over again.
Heaven forbid someone opens a fucking book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Quote.
the first line of this song, I'm a lexicon devil with a battered brain, and I'm looking for a future. The world's my aim.
Yeah. And I love the I guess, well, the verses and choruses are reversed, but I love I want toy tin soldiers that can push and shove. I want gunboy rovers that'll wreck this club. I'll build you up and level your heads. We'll run it my way. Cold men and politics dead. It's like he's telling you, wreck this club. He's like the original Scott Vogel, like, wreck this club. It's like the part.
When you trace the origin of a Vogelism, it goes back to the Germs in 1978 off the single.
I wonder if Vogel would consider Germs punk or hardcore. I bet he'd put him in the punk category.
Punk. Yeah, and that's something I wanted to touch on is that
this is hardcore.
Hardcore is born out of LA and Orange County right around this time, right around like 78 or so. And like the thing is, you have so many bands that are in that gray area where it's like, are they hardcore or are they punk? And no two people have the same opinion. Like if you go down the list of the Bags hardcore punk, this, the Germs, this, that, Black Flag for single, like
the Screamers.
Everyone has like a different like point, like breaking point where it's like, okay, this is hardcore. This isn't punk anymore, or this isn't just regular punk anymore. And it's like, I feel like that, like it's almost like damaging to the legacy of LA that you have all these bands in that gray area, because then like, who are we kidding? By the mid 80s up until now, New York like controls the narrative of hardcore music, for better or worse. And it's like, there's so much more of a distinction between like the Ramones and Agnostic Front. It's like that's a whole generation gap. Like, whereas in LA, it's like really just a seamless transition from punk to hardcore. And it's like, respect the Germs. Like, they never toured the East Coast. I'm sure that hurt their legacy to some degree. But like, this is the first hardcore album ever. Well, this is the first full length that's hardcore music.
In 1994, on Hardway Records, Bulldoze Remember Who's Strong comes out, and no one can argue that it's not a hardcore record.
Yes. Perfect point to make in the middle of the LA hardcore discussion.
I love the pick. And I love, because I thought I was going to get burned twice, because when Ben took Beverly Hills, I was like, welp, I wanted that one, or I want this one. I'm going Red Tape. This is the craziest blast of fucking energy for being so like young in the genre. And, I've talked on the pod before that the catalyst of this podcast was listening to Turned Out a Punk with Damien. And he had Jerry A on a couple times, and he credited Poison Idea like solely traced back to a single song. He's like, we wanted to do a band that sounded like Red Tape. And so this song is not only epic by itself, but it birthed maybe the greatest punk band of all time, Poison Idea. My number 3 pick is Circle Jerks' Red Tape off the Group Sex record. And that's what's up. Ben, what do you think about this? And would it have been your number 2 pick if you were choosing 2 Circle Jerks songs?
I think Wild in the Streets, which is a cover song, would have been my second Circle Jerks pick. But yeah, Red Tape's amazing. And if you want to know what I think of it, go back to the episode where we do the Build-A-Band, whatever number that is, on 185 Miles South, because I talk about this song. So I'm not going to repeat myself. If you want to know what I think about it, go back and listen to the Build-A-Band.
Oh, he's just providing links.
I like that. And
That's right.
is another
Seamless.
is another teaser to that pod. Which member did Joe start a rumor about having a heroin habit?
God damn it! I knew you were going to say that.
Anyone else got anything on
I don't-
anything on red tape, or do we go to Ben?
An unjust rumor is all I'm going to say.
Yes. Shout out Lucky. Okay, Ben, let's go to your third pick.
I'm going with Descendants Clean Sheets, the version on the Liveage album from 1987. And the reason I'm going for the live version is because it appears on a cassette sampler that SST put out that year, which I had, and I listened to this song so much I wore the tape out and broke the tape. And it's the only song on this album I listened to, on this cassette that I listened to. And I looked it up on Discogs today, and the name of the cassette sampler is SST Godhead Store Dude In-Store Play Device number 4. I guess the idea is send this to record stores, and then the record stores play it and get people hyped on SST shit. But the Clean Sheets is like, it appears on the album All, which came out that year, and this is just before the band transitions into being the band All. And it's crazy that like my two favorite Descendants songs, of course I'm alone on this one, are Clean Sheets and Coolidge, which are both on this album. And think about like how often does a punk band or a hardcore band put out bangers 4 albums into their career? Usually they run it. Usually you break up by album 2, and if you even make it to album 4, you're running out of steam. So it's pretty awesome that they're able to make great music this late. But it's like that. It's like kind of like a "You Broke My Heart" kind of a song, and it's on one of the few live albums worth owning in punk. There's not that many punk or hardcore live albums that are really good. Would you guys agree with that?
It doesn't capture what a live show is often, so that's why they're never as good, because what the live show is usually, and it's the crowd participation and all of that, and a lot of punk and hardcore live records don't really capture that well. So it's always a letdown, regardless of how good the performance is on the live record. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I would say that the Intense Energy 7-inch was pretty rad, especially that song by Overminded Body called Overminded Body.
Agreed.
But yeah, you're right. I think that those live Nemesis 7-inches are fucking epic. Kind of because, like, it's rad to like look back at old flyers. I think that's something that we all enjoy. You're like, oh fuck, like, what if I saw that show, or what if I saw that show? And like, so in that aspect, like, it's pretty rad to like do a 7-inch on a specific show. And I think he did 3 of them. So like, I would include that as like great hardcore live stuff. Go ahead.
Sick of It All, Live in a World Full of Hate is really good.
Yes, that's a really, really good one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Live in the Dive is pretty good too.
Yeah. Which one? Aren't there a bunch?
The Sick of It All, Live in the Dive.
Oh, okay.
At the bottom of the hill in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. I mean, Sick of It All live is sick. So like, they're a band that can pull it off.
Yeah, true.
It's interesting you chose, the live version too, but isn't it weird that they have 2 back-to-back live records? 87 and 88, The Descendants.
Yeah, it makes me think that Greg Ginn was kind of trying to milk it because the band had broken up, but I don't know. That's just speculation. I don't know exactly why that happened, but it's cool. Like, they're both good, and there are no duplicates. The second one doesn't have any of the same songs the first one has. I'm pretty sure.
That's what you come to the pod for facts that may or may not be true.
Yeah, exactly. Drives Zach nuts.
No, there's There's songs on both, it looks like.
No, the part of Driving Zap Nuts is when it's a dubious fact that's put out there, and then like maybe 3 hours after we're done recording the pod, there'll be a text saying, "Oh, by the way, this is the actual fact."
Yeah.
So listeners, let me tell you about the text messages for this particular pod with these four guys, the four of us. Ridiculous. Let me just tell you that, okay? Yeah,
I believe
Ben,
Daniel,
I think you're right.
Daniel almost quit. So this is hard. It's hard
I put
doing
it on snooze.
Yeah, it's hard doing
I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, it's hard doing like scene specific because it's like, is this band LA or Orange County? Are they IE? Oh, should we include stuff from like Magic Mountain area? Like, what's Simi Valley? You know, like it's pretty weird. But I think that like there's so many tentpole bands that like you just associate with being Los Angeles punk and hardcore. It's like we're gonna hone it in. Like, look, I'm not gonna get cute and choose Infest, even though they'd make my top 7. But I don't know. Like, do you think Infest when you think LA hardcore? Probably not. You know, even though like if they were included, they'd be in my top 7. So that's that.
Yeah, you just think the kings of power violence. Like you don't even. I know you consider them California, but you don't necessarily dial them into a very, very specific location. You know, in my mind, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Joe for his number 3.
Number 3. Oh, cool. Let me get my list back up here. I am going with I'm going to go with Bad Religion. Give You Nothing off of Suffer.
Yeah.
I think that you already chose a song off Suffer, Zach, but I think any song off the record would probably be a good choice. Because I know them all by heart, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yep.
Because we've played it 10 gajillion times. So, I think they've all kind of filtered into this is just the best. So, but this song in particular gives you, some fast Bad Religion, and then the slow breakdown stuff, which gives you like a different insight into where they're going. So, maybe not for another 2 or 3 records, so they slow down that much. But, I don't know. It's cool. Interesting lyrics, and, it just keeps you, it just grabs you. That's what I'm trying to say. When that, in the pop on the drum and the way it starts, and like, just everything about it's cool. And 16-year-old me thought it was the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah, I mean,
it came out.
You say that they slow down later, but I would say that like by No Control, they start doing like kind of a slow song every record, and maybe so they start feeling good, settling into like that, like not every song has to be a blast, like because like for instance, Sanity on like on No Control, and then there's slower songs also on Against the Grain, even though their sound isn't changing. They're still like doing the blasting speed of like melody, but like they do settle into that style, and they're like, oh, we can do this too, and it feels good, and maybe this is like one of the impetus of that.
And it's clever, so
right. Yeah, absolutely. Great pick. I had 2 off Suffer and 2 off Against the Grain if I had to choose. So yeah, and we touched on Suffer. So let's go back to Daniel, your number 4 pick.
Okay, more strategy. I love Living in the City by Fear. Woo.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it could be from the UK at what, it's got that UK like punk and almost like what went on to be Oi. And it's so tuneful, but it's so fucking cool. It's just, it's chock full of shit and puke. Like, it's very descriptive. It's super cool. It's probably not, maybe not 2020 appropriate in certain places, but it's just describing like the urban existence of a punk, like at the time, squats, whatnot, and it's an absolute perfect pop song set to a very harder tone. Do you know what I mean? He's very tuneful on the chorus, but he's very aggressive on the verses. I don't know. I really love it. I absolutely, I love this song. This is by far my favorite Fear song. And I just think about the SNL times and all of it, just like how fucking great, like this era. Of course, when we watched, even though I've watched it a million times, but when we watched The Decline when we talked about punk movies, and we went over the Fear footage, like it steals the show by a billion miles over everything else on there. Well, the Black Flag as well, but the Fear footage and the actual show and how they were just basically agitating the crowd into really going nuts for them is super cool. And I mean, how old is Lee Ving right now? And still out there doing these songs,
Yeah, he had like total command over the stage. Like he was like a dude, like he's playing like punk, but it's like he could have fucking been in Kiss, like playing a fucking arena with like that swag, Yeah,
or Elvis or whatever,
Right. I want to say like the note that he hits on "people puking everywhere" is like maybe the greatest like vocal performance until Danzig won. And the other thing is like I love that you brought up like the live shit from the Saturday Night Live, because like part of what makes me love that so much is like you have so many of these like iconic like hardcore dudes that want to go and fucking rage to a band that like we're not debating is this punk or hardcore, right? Like this is just a classic ass punk band, and it's so rad that like these iconic hardcore dudes just want to go slam to some punk, and like there's maybe too much separation of that now, that like there's hardcore and then there's punk. Like I don't know what punk band would like every like hardcore icon of the scene would like want to go and like slam to, like, and so that's just, it's a nice moment of time to think about like there was a time that everyone just loved Fear, like a band like this, like everyone can be like, fuck yeah, I want to go see Fear. Like that sentiment rules, and I wish that there was like some common bond, like some more common bonds like that. Joe, what do you have on this?
Well, Lee Ving is certainly a amazing performer. He always was. I don't know if you recently saw he did the I Don't Care About You with the Anthrax guys recently, like COVID time. So it's all the multi videos. But Lee is what, 60 something now?
70.
Is he 70? Fuck.
Yeah, I just looked up.
He was like an old dude then.
He sounds so fucking good in this thing, So, but yeah, it's iconic, and in any song off that record, I think would also pass. It's one of those records that's just pretty good, solid through and through. So, but yeah, I think this is my favorite one as well, Daniel. So you chose right.
Nice.
Is it a 7-inch version or LP version? Because this came out on a 7-inch in 1978, before, 4 years before the album.
Well, I was totally listening to it then, so.
Go LP so we can get it on the Spotify playlist, because there's a fair amount of this shit
both
that's
on
not.
Spotify.
Okay, sick.
But I don't know. I think they are, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it. Saw Fear in '92, one of the first hardcore shows I ever went to. Adolescents played All's Fear at the Hollywood Palladium. It was awesome.
Sick.
Yeah.
I've seen them a bunch, but in San Diego, it's always a rough time going to see them just because who they bring out.
Rough time because Daniel's going to rough you up in the pit.
That's right.
All right, my number
chock full of puke.
Yeah, that's right. My number 4. Yeah.
Offspring.
Orange County, right?
Yeah. They're
They're off limits.
But you're going, yeah.
In my brain, that's what's always going on. I'm going Youth Brigade, Sing with California. There are 3 songs that are undisputedly the greatest Circle Pit songs of all time. One is Pennywise covering Stand By Me. One is Retaliate the Nard Way. And the number 1 is Youth Brigade, Sing with California. This fucking song, starting slow, it's like there's some songs that are so good and iconic, like it brings up imagery in your head. And when this song starts, I just picture people walking in a pit, and it's at least 20 dudes thick, and it's just like, you're just walking slow and it's like, oh, we're singing along and it's fucking unity. And then it's like, it kicks in, well, first off, there's like the cutout part, right? Where everyone's singing, and we'll sing with California, and I saw him this year, like right before COVID hit, and it's still fucking great, and you're doing it. You're singing that part, and then like that guitar kicks, and shit's going down. So it's like all the motherfuckers that were walking, now we slamming, and it is what it is. And this fucking shit is so iconic and good. And it's on my list. It's number 4. It's Youth Brigade, Sing with California, off the Sound and Fury LP, BYO Records, motherfucker. Wish it was on Spotify for all you guys. But Sean's a down-ass dude, and he probably has his reasons. So no judgment there. But have we done Youth Brigade? Or is there anything else you guys want to add on this?
I just want to throw one little thing out. They had stopped playing for a little bit, and then they did the comeback shows with 7 Seconds and Bouncing Souls. And I brought my Sound and Fury record with me, and then I bought a whole bunch of other merch, and then I found each of the band members and actually asked them, and I never fucking do this, but this was so important to me because of that song you mentioned, and then the song I picked. So I get them all to autograph my old record, and they did it. But Sean just wrote on there, he's all, buy some new shit. That's it. That's my story.
That's very Sean.
But he didn't know that I had just bought all this other crap already. So I thought it was funny.
Hey, don't judge episode 1 by its cover, Sean. What the fuck? And I will say, like, they did another good documentary on BYO Records.
Let them know.
Yeah, let them know. Super good.
It's an incredible doc.
It's so good. But what's wild is I love the Youth Brigade LP, To Sell the Truth, and they just skipped it, which is fucking wild. Like, if you're a band and like you start in the beginning of the 80s, and then in the 90s, like the mid 90s, you put out another album that is so fucking good. Like, who does that? Like, puts out an LP that good 15 years after like your first album, and then you do a documentary about it and you just skip it. Like, did you guys realize you pulled off something that no one else does? Like, it's pretty amazing. Like, you wrote one of the best albums, like 15 years later. Like, I don't know. Give yourself some dap, but it just got skipped. So I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, let's go to Bedge for his number 4.
Number 4, I'm going with No God by the Germs. This is on their Lexicon Devil 7-inch slash records number 1. I love the well, first of all, like my friend is writing a book. Of course, he's been writing this book for like 25 years. David Jones, shout out. He is talking about in the book. He sent me the chapter today. Actually, I read it about how, in his opinion, this is the first hardcore song that made it onto a record, because this came out in like, I don't know, spring of '78 or something like that. But it's got that great, like, Pat Smear doing the beginning of Roundabout by the band Yes. And then it's like, psych! Like, you thought this was going to be a Yes song? Psych! And then it's just hardcore. And, like, I always thought, like, he's making fun of the band Yes. And, like, you know, Yes is like the antithesis of punk. There's this prog band with songs that are way too long and, you know, shrill vocals. And not the case at all. Pat was a huge fan of Yes. And when my friend interviewed Pat, he broke it down and was like, Pat hated traditional 50s style rock and roll songs, which is the kind of the basis for most punk music at the time. You know, 70s punk is really sped up 50s rock and roll. And he said Darby would write songs like that. And I'd be like, fuck that. I'm going to change the chords and make it sound weird. Like, I don't want to write like 1-4-5, like Chuck Berry sounding shit. I want to make songs that sound fucked up. And so it's strange to think that like Yes was an influence on like one of the first hardcore bands, because it's like what a huge mental leap you'd have to take to connect those two. And then the other funny thing about this record is that Pat never had his own equipment, even though he's like one of the greatest guitarists. He just would borrow other people's shit. And yeah, totally. And so he goes to the studio and he's like, "What? There's no amp?" And then the engineer's like, "Well, we're just gonna have to plug you in direct." So there's no guitar amp on this record. He's plugged directly into the board, which, you know, doesn't give you a very great guitar tone, but somehow this record sounds fucking perfect. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. And also the drum beat on this song isn't standard either. It's kind of got this like there's like a heaviness to it. And then of course the lyrics are great too. It's like, you know, it's a great atheist theme song, which was a huge influence on Bad Religion.
Yeah, I just want to apologize to the Berry family. Chuck's music was not shit. But okay. Anything else on this?
Oh, and the Germs and the Germs covered Chuck Berry. They covered Round and Round.
So only Bedge calls Chuck's music shit.
No.
I'm just playing. You're like, you didn't want to... Whatever.
How dare you?
How dare you? Sick. Love the 2 Germ songs got on here. And especially Bedge going for a 7-inch, dude. Love it. Joe, let's go to your number 4.
Okay, so my 4th pick, I am going with Nausea from X off Los Angeles.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you know, seeing Decline for the first time and like the way that they, you know, like kind of wrap that song into the intro, you know, and they do the stop motion with the slam dancers and like all that. I was just like blown away, like, oh my God, what is this? You know, and then the song continues on. Then you see them playing on stage, and then you hear, you know, Exene start singing. So there's a girl singer, like, wait a minute, what? What's this? You know? So as a little kid, that it just shocked me. Like I wasn't thinking that that's what this was going to be, because everything that had led up to that point was this, you know, not machismo, but certainly boys club, you know, sort of society that punk rock, that I thought punk rock was. Granted, I'm 13 years old at this time, you know, so or 14 maybe, but so it was really nice to see that, and the song just fucking rips. It's so good, you know, that you know, like that fucking, that's so good, still to this day. Like, you know, it just amps me. And then, you know, and then you hear, you know, John Doe and Nixine's voice like together, like it's just, it's perfect, you know. Now maybe not on that live version, but on the actual record. The the one drawback, it's a drug song, so that kind of bugs me now. Back then it didn't so much, but whatever. It's still a fucking great song.
So, Joe, you were 13 or 14 in 1979?
No. When
he watched Decline.
when I first saw Decline.
I know. I'm just ribbing you as the.
What year did Decline come out anyway?
81.
Yeah. So yeah, I probably saw it in '83. I'm gonna say.
Oof. Old school. That is old school.
Some episode 1 shit, dude.
Well, because it was on, they would put it on public access too. So it was on like whatever the public access channel was here in Oxnard.
Yeah, it was like NPR. Please donate to the local NPR station because we support Penelope Spheris.
That rules. I'm glad to get X on here. I think they're a band that should get called out in this pod. Ben, do you have anything on this? Oh, sorry, Joe. Go on.
No, I was just going to say I didn't choose. I wanted to choose the next song. This one's my favorite. Los Angeles almost made it, and I just thought that would be a little bit too on the nose for, choosing the Los Angeles for the Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, but this song's better anyway, in my opinion. So.
You got to choose your favorite. Got to choose your favorite. Don't be like Bedge on the Rev episode. You should have chose 6 and then went GB to be true to yourself, dude. That's all I gotta say. But
well, it's too late now. The damage has been done.
That's true. That's true. All right, Daniel, number 5.
Hey, I didn't get to talk about Nausea.
Oh, sorry, Bedge. Talk about Nausea, please.
I love the moment when you're watching Decline and they're playing this song and Darby Crash looks at the screen and then it freezes. That's the first thing I think of when I think of this song is Darby Crash looking at the camera and then it freezes on him and it's like, damn, he looks cool. Like, fuck. Yeah. But yeah, X is great. X is one of those bands where I don't think they play bad shows. Like, it doesn't matter what decade you see this band play live in, they're going to be really, really good. And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you've seen X not be very good before, but I've seen them 3 or 4 times and they're always great. No, Dickies is another band like that. They're just always good.
Yeah, I've heard that Dickies are still amazing. I saw X play Billy O's, I believe. Joe, were you there?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like they were fucking sick. I mean, that's a small room. They were fucking sick. Daniel, number 5.
I have a confession on X. I'm not a big fan. Like, I don't like Exene's voice at all.
There's got to be one male sexist pig on this fucking pod.
But I absolutely agree with the way it's filmed with the intro, like on Decline. Yeah. It's epic. But all right, my number 5.
Well, real quick, Daniel, let me just jump in. Like, it's so rad because, some movies choose like to take songs and some like have a score, Yeah. And I think that intro is like almost like a molding of the two. Like, she chose like a perfect song for that intro that like, it's almost like it is a score. Like, you couldn't have someone like write a better song for that intro. It is so fucking perfect. And with like the freezing, like we've talked about, like, oh, it just doesn't get any better. But yeah, number 5, Daniel.
Yeah. Okay. So 5. Okay. All right. Now, do I choose Deny Everything or do I choose Wild in the Streets? Even though, like as Ben says, Wild in the Streets is a cover, I just think it's perfect the way it's recorded. I'm going with Wild in the Streets.
Yeah.
I love that the wow part, and then in the heat of the summer, it goes so poppy on the verses, and then back it. Okay, so when we talk about like there's punk, and then there's new wave, and there's hardcore, this song is kind of like all 3 in one go. The way that the running run it. Like it's very new wave,
Yeah.
the way that it's done, and I don't know. I just really I really love this. I love the song, like, and it's the title track off their epic record, and first time. Okay, so I'm moved here to America, and I saw Circle Jerks on Unwritten Law at the old Soma, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm excited to see Circle Jerks, and that's my first taste of seeing like San Diego as, the way Henry Rollins, etc., describe it in all of their things of just like so many Nazis and stuff, and looking down because it was a 2-tiered venue back then. Actually, it was 3 tiers because they had a dungeon. They had a like a basement dungeon where other shows went on. But I was on the top floor looking down and just seeing like 50 plus dudes Z-Kyling. And I remember Keith Morris going, "Hey, if you didn't know, you lost the war."
Yes.
Like clowning them. It was fucking cool. But that's the time that I just knew this song was just so fucking rad, because the circle pit that started when was like decline levels, or actually another state of mind levels of participation, like 8 lanes wide.
So,
And yeah, I love this song.
how hard did you slam when you came down to the first floor? And
I was scared.
And Unwritten Law played Crazy Poway Kids.
That was the thing, because Unwritten Law, a pretty damn poppy. Back then, very big Bad Religion copycats. But to hear all these like poppy and almost like love songs, and to hear CPK, but just to see the amount of Nazis they brought to see them, because that's who the majority of the boneheads were there for, was Unwritten Law, because they're from Poway and that shit was going on out in suburbia.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy thinking back on like those times, because some of the gnarliest dudes I've ever like seen in a circle pit was like to face.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
How are these fucking brutes like digging on this? And it's wild that like that element just kind of went away when like a lot of music got harder, and it's like, man, they were here when like it was like the easy on the ears music, like what would, I don't know. It's just wild. It's wild to think about.
Wild in the pit.
Yeah.
Slamming.
Yeah.
Why are there so many Nazis in San Diego? It's right next to Mexico. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing there?
Beach cities, man. Beach cities breed fucking Nazis. I know many of them have already gone to jail and come out.
Well, you also have the
military bases.
You have the convergence of military. So people that come here and get out and they're like, oh, this is a great city, I'm just going to stay here. So you have people from all over. Also, people coming for college. There's lots of colleges, but then you also have the convergence of beach culture as well as like that East County culture, like the desert culture meeting like the beach culture, because both are so close together. And while we're so close to Mexico, which is one of the reasons why I love it here so much, that can also like breed a little bit of the hate for the people that are like just separated enough away from it. Like how we're talking about in Poway, like they have their nice like pretty suburb, and and they don't associate with like, it's not multicultural by any means. At least at the time, maybe. Escondido is pretty multicultural, but
I mean, all of San Diego is, but the people that are participating in this are actually rallying against the multicultural, and they're also just trying to get an identity. And some older dickhead has shown them that this is cool, but it's not.
Yeah, fuck our power.
But I mean, surf Nazis are a thing, you know. Like guys should know up in Oxnard too.
Yeah, but it's also got a lot to do with money and people with
Blame.
money and people without money.
Yeah, blaming.
And
And
blaming.
it is post jail as well. A lot of it, you know.
Yeah, well,
Man.
Wild in the Streets is a fucking ripping tune.
Yeah.
And
So which version?
LP.
LP. Okay.
Daniel keeps getting the question, but you know the answer. It's the LP version, motherfucker.
Well, I'm just curious because the version that's on Rodney on the Rock is pretty damn good too. So
Oh yeah.
That's missing a third verse. The third verse isn't there.
There's only one Rodney
a
on the
great
Rock song that I'm picking, and that's Clean Cut American Kid, but not for this episode.
But this first, think about this first Rodney on the Rock comp, though. It comes out in 1980, and you get the first thing, I believe, ever by Agent Orange, which is Blood Stains, their best song. You get the first thing ever by the Adolescents that comes out, which is Amoeba, like the song they're known for.
Jeez.
And you get, I think, the first thing ever by the Circle Jerks on a record. Unless, whatever, I don't know the order if Group Sex came out first, but I don't think it did. Wild in the Streets. It's like, and then you get Black Flag and like Clan and UXA. It's just like, I can't believe this is all on one record. Like, God damn, that's perfect.
The American John Peel.
I'm still going.
Yep.
I'm still going Volume 3, Clean Cut American Kid. All right, my number 5 pick is Depression, and the version I'm taking is off Everything Went Black, 1982, because I want that Chavo version. His fucking notes he hits on there, Depression got a hold on me, is the best. I
The
absolutely.
Lee Ving tribute.
Yeah, dude. People puking everywhere. Love it. So this is my favorite version of a song by one of my favorite bands ever, you know? And yeah, I like this stuff on Everything Went Black. I love Jealous Again. Chavo's my favorite recorded singer. Although Nervous Breakdown, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, I think I'm still going Chavo for his like output of recorded material. And yeah, just this version of Depression, it gets me every time. We can't avoid circling back to Decline. You know, he's the dude on it, and they play the song, and it's just something. Like, oh my God, I wish I was there. You know? But yeah, this is my choice. Depression off Everything Went Black, 1982, that Chavo version. Let's go through. And who's everyone's? I want to know your favorite singer and your favorite Black Flag record. Daniel, let's go to you.
Keith, Nervous Breakdown 7-inch.
Ben, let's go to you.
Ron Reyes, Jealous Again, 12-inch.
And Joe, let's go to you.
Henry My War.
All right. Cool.
Henry Loosen Up. Psych.
There are good songs on that record.
I'm going Blast
There
Power.
are. I mean, I think there are.
I'm going Blast Power of Expression.
Actually, I'm going Greg Ginn, What the?
Ooh. Well, that's Ron Reyes. That's Ron Reyes. There's actually there's a good song on that album. I swear to you, there's one good song on that album.
Okay.
It's called The Chase.
Okay.
I just bought it for the artwork.
The live tracks from
The artwork is so sick.
Okay.
the
All right.
live tracks from the Cat Rescue concert.
Ooh, terrible. I was there.
So bad.
All right. I want to include on when we put out the playlist of this episode, let's put the good Black Flag song from that record as the bonus track, Ben. So remember that, and let's put it on at the end if it's available on Spotify. Because I think that's cool. I want to know that song, and I want to listen to it later. But
Okay,
yeah,
and what we're going to do with the listeners are going to vote on our lists, right?
that's right.
So the listener that votes for, so the listeners vote for the winner. The winner then gets to choose what other member of this pod gets the album cover tattooed on them.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Oh no.
But yeah, just so everyone knows, there is a playlist for every single podcast. So all you got to do is go to 185milessouth.com/playlists, or just go to 185milessouth.com and click that playlist button. And you can listen to the playlist for any podcast. They're always up there. And let's go to Ben for your number 5.
There's nothing more that you can leave behind, so forget about seeing, get into the blind. Everything looks better when the wool is black, so grab a fork, make your first attack. Lights Out by the Angry Samoans. This was my thing, my call and response pick that I alluded to earlier.
Oh, right.
Where you have Greg Turner and Mike Saunders going back and forth with the lyrics on the verses, and it's really they're just singing over a drum beat with like guitar stabs, like once per measure. So it's like almost like an a cappella thing. And then when it breaks into the chorus, it's like the full band kicks in and it's just so perfect. And it's just like, okay, when I got into punk, I tell people I like punk music. And then people who didn't understand it, they'd be like, oh yeah, like all those songs are about like, like kill your mother, kill your father, poke your eyes out. Like, and it's like, this is like, you could play this song and be like, you're right. That is what punk's about, and it fucking rules. The song's awesome. Like, it is about poking your eyes out. Like, literally nothing but that. That's the topic of the song.
Yeah,
and like,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, this one song alone, like, bodies entire scenes and eras. Like, there are multiple U.S. states who have never, like, their entire scenes combined don't equal to this one song. Anyway, what were you going to say, Zach?
Well, I was just going to say, like, and then you go, oh, do you want another one? And then you play them. They save Hitler's cock.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it's like, I saw your mommy and your mommy's dead, suicidal. Like, give them what they want. There's a song by the Vibrators called Destroy. And there's like a lyric about like, kill your mother. And it's like, perfect. There actually are songs that like meet the stereotype. And they're still good. But Angry Samoans is great. They have like Mike Saunders. I think he's on the spectrum. Like if you ever talk to him, he's a very strange man, and he's a little bit older. He's probably like 10 years older than a lot of the people from this era of the scene. And he was a writer for Cream magazine, and so he knew my dad and friends of his, and they really got a kick out of like. Angry Samoans when they came out. Like there's this layer of like you were around for psychedelic music in the 60s. Punk comes along, so you kind of see it from further away, if that makes any sense. Like you have a broader understanding of where like punk and hardcore fits into like the continuum of rock and roll music. Like as opposed to like a 15-year-old kid in 1982 who just wants to slam dance. Like And I love that Angry Samoans have that perspective. I mean, it's subtle, but there are elements of psychedelia. They kind of come out later on in later records, but like just really humorous band with really good catchy songs. And they have like total meathead fans who like don't get, like they don't understand like the layers of humor in the music, but whatever.
Well, you don't come up with "They saved Hitler's cock" if you're sober.
Yeah, I don't know the story behind the writing of that.
Yeah, Joe, what do you have on this? Or not?
Sorry, I was away from my mic.
It's cool.
Yeah, I don't got a whole lot to say about Angry Samoans. I mean, it's a great song. I just was never that into them. So,
Daniel, do you want to touch this?
Just me.
They played not that well, I suppose, a couple of years ago now. And people were fired up to see them still, but it brought out a weirder element, and then a bunch of young kids, Yeah, this song's, like you say, like lyrically just putting it out on the table. It's a cool track. And I think they are a band that their name is known more than people have checked out their music in more recent times, I feel.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
It doesn't help that they're not on Spotify, or that the good stuff isn't on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that. We're gonna run into that when we make the Spotify playlist, but that's cool. Everyone can look it up. You know, this is a podcast for low key intellectuals. How about that, Joe? Let's go to you for your number 5.
Number 5. I'm going Pretty Please Me from the Dickies.
Yeah,
Stukas Over Disneyland. Now, Dickies are I'm not going to say guilty pleasure. I absolutely adore this band. I always have. Burning Dog had the fortune to play with them once. It was the best night of my life. Yeah, they're a great band. But the song, it's super poppy as they were at this time. I have demo versions of this too before the keyboardist died. That have some really cool stuff going on in it too. But yeah, Pretty Please Me, the Dickies.
glad they're on the list, and I believe it's the first time that a song has been picked off the 3rd LP of a band. How about that? Ben, do you have anything on the Dickies?
Oh, Suffer is the 3rd LP.
Oh yeah, no, Suffer 2nd LP, dude.
3rd, bro, Into the Unknown. Come on.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh, you got me. Ben, what do you have on the Dickies?
Pretty Please Me is a cover by the band The Quick, which were an LA band that were kind of like late glam, or like too late for glam, too early for punk. And I want to say that the main guy in The Quick also wrote other songs for the Dickies. It's weird, like a ghostwriter. Oh, not a ghostwriter because he has credit. I'm looking. He co-wrote a bunch of stuff on this album too. There's something. Someone broke it down for me, the relation between the Quick and the Dickies. But the Dickies I love. They're another one of those bands I mentioned earlier that, like, it doesn't matter what decade you see them in. It doesn't matter. It's only the singer and the guitarist who are consistent members. So it doesn't even matter who the rhythm section is. They're gonna be good. They're gonna play the songs the way they should be played.
Yeah.
Why, have you ever seen a Bad Dickies show? I never have.
I have not, but
yeah.
I just want to shout out to the current bass player and drummer. You do matter.
and the other guitarist, yeah, and the keyboardist.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that there's got to be a standard that they meet, for them to be good, regardless of who else is in the band.
Shout out to the Dickies roadie. Sorry, go on.
And the Dickies were the band my band Bad Reaction was listening to when we were driving to play a show with Ill Repute in Oxnard in 2008 when we drove down the Camarillo grade and my car blew a tire and we rolled like 2 or 3 times and hit the median, and like my car was completely destroyed and I was bleeding out of the top of my head. But it was the Dickies we were listening to. It wasn't this album that was the first one. We made it to the show though. We played after Ill Repute and everyone left.
Nard curse. We
were cursed.
Yeah.
LA cursed.
Okay, let's go to Daniel for your number 6.
Well, I was gonna pick. I was weighing up these two. Didn't know which one to go with, but since the Dickies just got some shine, I was gonna do "Give It Back" by the Dickies.
Good song too.
But I am going to go a slightly different direction and something a little bit more, I won't say quirky because they're fucking powerhouse, but something a little bit different than everything that's been picked so far. And I'm going to go with Linda Blair by Red Cross.
Yeah.
I mean, what I love about the way Red Cross sound like is it is almost like the punk and noisy version of Velvet Underground almost.
Yep. Yeah.
They've got like a total like Americana Velvet Underground, like alternative Americana, not like Willie Nelson or anything. sound to them, but they also sound a bit like the Saints. And then they've got the really noisy, like just aggressive things that like birth like a Sonic Youth or something later on, all mixed into one band. And I'm not a sexist pig because they are featuring awesome female musicians. And I don't know, like this song is so cool, and it's referencing, the actress who played the lead in The Exorcist, and it's talking about her in that, and then, what is that in the background? I just heard some music in the background. But yeah, this is an absolute banger of a song, and if you haven't heard it, check it out. Starts out really noisy and almost like, in a strange way, like atonal, like it's challenging noise at the beginning, and then it goes into really cool, like that's the best way to describe it. It's really cool. Like the song is cool, it's catchy, and it's really great. Check it out.
Yeah, speaking of The Exorcist, Ben is the only person on earth that likes the newer version of the Negative Approach 7-inch cover.
Oh man,
Ben can get that tattooed at the same time he gets the album tattooed.
Yeah, no, this is a great pick. Again, a band that I'm stoked to get on the list. I think that we're doing a good job late of spreading it out a little bit. But I'm not gonna go in that direction to spread things. I got 2 canon bands. I got to take one of each. And Daniel, I don't know if I've told you lately, but you'll always be my Kabuki girl. I'm going Descendants, Kabuki Girl off the first LP. And man, Bike Age is the perfect song. But this one is so drivey and good. Just the way it starts and kicks in. And it's like, how can you do something so like raw punk sounding, yet so melodically sensible? It's just fucking perfect song. I love it. I had to have the Descendants on here. There's other stuff I wanted to pick, but I didn't want to try to get too cute. I would be lying to myself if I didn't have a Descendant song or a Suicidal Tendency song, which I'm going to choose next. And yeah, had to have it. This is my choice. And we've talked Descendants enough that we can go on to Ben for his number 6.
All right. I'm going. This is as obscure as I'll get in this exercise, which is not even that obscure if you are a fan of the Danger House Records label, who the label put out probably, I don't know, 10 or so singles and maybe 2 LPs over the course of 3 years, and everything on that label was good, and all the artwork is incredible. And this is the band Rhino 39 from Long Beach, and the song is Xerox / No Compromise. There you go. I'm putting 2 songs that are connected to each other.
Do it.
That's to make up for the I just want some skank Beverly Hills mishap earlier.
Got it back.
But I want to say that this might be the first punk band ever from Long Beach, which has Long Beach is strong for punk, maybe more bar punk. I mean, we're talking about 40 years later, but Rhino 39 has this cool sound where like the music is lightning fast, especially No Compromise. When it breaks into No Compromise, it like totally takes off. But the guitar isn't very distorted at all, and the vocals are so casual. He's just singing the lyrics, and like they're gang backup vocals too, but they're also laid back. And it's like, what a great combination! What a great formula of like you're just pounding people with intense speed, but you're also doing it in like a casual way. Like, I'm from California, and it's like, I wish more bands did that. Like, it almost makes me want to be like, oh, I should do this. Like, I should put more of this into the world. Like,
Yeah.
but
You sounded like the Californians SNL skit just now when
Yeah.
you did it. Like, down on Cahuenga.
what are you doing here? And then the sad part about this band is the singer died in a car accident like later in the same year that this single came out, 1979.
Was he
And-
listening to the Dickies first tape?
Oh my God. He might have been. That shit was out already.
Yeah.
The second one probably was out by then too. 2 albums in the same year. But Rhino 39 like continued on without him, and they put out an album in the 80s that is not very good at all. So if you want to check out Rhino 39, stick to the No Compromise or the Xerox No Compromise Prolixin Stomp 7-inch on Danger House. It's one of those things that just doesn't get talked about very much, and it's understandable since this is like the only good record they did, and they never toured the East Coast, and like bands that put in work, like I guess just deservingly get remembered more. Bad Religion, Black Flag, Dead Kennedys, bands that put out lots of records and were around for like many years, but this is like a real cult favorite. I kind of wish it was even more of a cult favorite.
Well, you say that they didn't make it to the East Coast, but they also probably didn't play that many shows after the record came out, right? If the dude died?
Yeah, because the guy died. Yeah, and I think there was a gap between him getting back together.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a pretty good excuse for not playing shows. Like, well, I'm dead. But
and can you imagine being the only punk kids in your high school because you're like the first punk kids ever in your high school? Like shit didn't exist until we came along.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like I probably got picked on a lot.
Yeah. So respect to Bedge for getting that twofer, and let's go to Joe for your number 6.
Number 6. I was just going to say, Rhino 39 does have a song on the Hell Comes Your House comp. That's the only song I know from them.
That's later. That's after this guy died. Yeah.
That was the 82, I think, that came out.
Yeah.
Possibly. But anyway, sorry.
Episode 1, dropping knowledge.
It's my turn right now?
Yeah.
Really?
Right. Number 6, right?
Yes. And I just want to say bye to all the listeners that are tuning out, as Joe thinks.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks
fine.
for listening.
See ya.
No.
Good riddance.
Number 6.
Just hit that 15-second ahead thing.
I'm going to choose a Descendant song as well. I'm going to go with Camage.
Yeah.
Because I just fucking love that song. The transitions and Milo's voice is fucking flawless on it, and super heartfelt. Yeah, I love it. Descendants of all.
Hell yeah.
No Suburban Home. No My Age.
Nah.
Hope.
That's crazy. It's just crazy that those songs are being left up. You know what I mean? Like it's nuts. But
Hope hasn't been grabbed yet.
I mean, you can just listen to Summary and be happy.
Yeah,
with the hits, right? So, which is great, and there's nothing wrong with those songs. But I like the song better than all those other ones. In fact, better than all the other songs you guys chose too.
So. Oh yeah, hell yeah! You got to choose what's true to you.
I looked up the Liveage versus Hallraker, the 2 live albums, to see if there were any duplicate songs. The only duplicate song is the song All, which is the 1-second song where they go All. But other than that, all different tracks.
How
I looked
about
it up and
that?
I mentioned it already.
Let's see if I do the right one.
That would have been better right there.
All right, Daniel, we're to it. Your final pick, number 7.
All right. Well, here's the thing.
I got 3 number 7s. Here's the thing.
I mean, one could have gone The Dills, You're Not Blank.
Just don't mention these other ones.
I could have gone Evil, 45 Grave.
Yeah.
I could have gone.
But you're not the only one going, so don't mention all these other songs until we're all done.
Oh man, I just got a verbal slap on the wrist. Okay,
Keep going. Name them all.
This is why that pod was 3 hours long.
Yes, but also it's because Zach does this move all the time. He talks up one song and then goes, "But I'm not going with that. I'm going with this." So I wouldn't be true to LA hardcore in my heart and my experience without having Terror on this list.
Yeah.
And Terror is an absolute crushing, amazing band, and I am going with my favorite Terror song, "Better Off Without You," from the Lowest of the Low recording. And let me just tell you, that is fucking hardcore, friends. Like, listen to that, and it's hardcore. Terror have been a band almost 20 years, so they definitely belong in the lists of all of this amazing LA hardcore that we're describing and celebrating. Just because something came earlier does not stop the power of something coming later when it is done to perfection. And Terror, Better Off Without You from Lowest of the Low is pretty much perfect hardcore. Formula is amazing, the recording is amazing, the songwriting is amazing, and I mean, better. Yeah, without you. You got to have that, you know,
Yeah.
on that part that you're singing, you know.
Yep. Perfect oof part.
Yep. It's fantastic, and we all know this. You know, all the other things we know that these bands probably brought it live, and we've seen video, and it looks like they do, and everything's great, and we've seen them in later eras, and they still bring it and whatnot. But we all fucking know Terror bring it. You know, still to this day.
Yep.
Lineup changes, etc. There's two captains of the ship that make sure that it flows, like the essence isn't lost ever. So that's my 7th pick, rounding out the list, bringing a little bit of modernity, even though the song's like 18 years old now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was interesting to get shamed for choosing all old stuff and then you choosing a song 18 years old. But hey,
yeah.
It's cool.
Hey, I'm not shaming anyone. I'm just saying that stuff that is recorded, you know, not in this classic, like Ben says, 77 to 83 period. Yeah, I mean, or even up to like 87, you know. Stuff that's come after it is this is cream of the crop for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm another band that I'm so glad gets on here. Yeah, it's fucking Terror, dude. You can't say anything about it. It's, you know, one of the greatest hardcore bands of all time, who's put out some of the best output of all time. You know, like they got 8 LPs, dude. What the fuck? Yeah. And they're doing the 9th one now, and it's gonna be fucking hot. You know, it's like there's no doubt they're gonna put out another album. It's gonna kick ass. Like there's just, you know, for fast music that doesn't have melody, to do that many albums and have them be like consistently good, holy fuck. It's just it's
lacking,
really
it's lacking melody, but it's not lacking catchiness. He formulates lyrical parts to just really hook you for participation as a crowd member, you know.
Yep.
And you know, we've talked about the, you know, certain bands looking cool and whatnot, and Terror have just always made the live experience so cool because Scott Vogel is one of the greatest frontmen to do it.
Absolutely. Okay.
What do these two think of a Terror pick being on this? I know Ben will be critical just because it's not from this era.
No, I don't. I mean, I like the fact that, you know, we're not just talking about the same 7 bands. Even though I'm not a Terror fan myself, you know, they're from LA. I mean, they formed in LA. That's as much as we can say about the rest of these guys. Youth Brigade are three brothers originally from Canada, but doesn't matter. They're an LA band.
Yeah, super glad this got on the list. I'm on my number 7. I'm going Suicidal. I already blew the surprise. And this is hard. Joe did a great job choosing the first song on the record. First 2 songs. If I had to choose, I would choose I Want More. Because my favorite Suicidal is How I Laugh Tomorrow If I Can't Even Smile Today. And like this song gives you like a hint of what's to come. And maybe this is one of my favorite songs on the record, but maybe I like it so much because it is like the hint of to come. Like, I don't know if this album lived by itself, would this be my favorite song alone without knowing that they like end up doing basically like one of my favorite albums of all time, which like perfects that like melodic speed metal with like the greatest solos in the history of Earth. But what I want to do, I got to choose one of the long songs, I think.
He did it again.
Yep,
He
I did it.
another song.
It's got to be represented because, you know, Suicidal is like known for Institutionalized, known for I Saw Your Mommy, but the best of the long songs with like the slow parts is Subliminal. And that's what I'm going with. I'm going Suicidal Tendencies, Subliminal, off a self-titled record, 1983 Frontier Records. Fucking this song, they're fucking with me subliminally. And then just to go like that style of the slow to the fast, but this, like, the lyrics are just so fucking perfect, dude. Like, I don't know. I can't even imagine getting to see this band like this era. When I saw them the first time, it would have been whenever Metallica did that tour, like the live shit Binge and Purge. I think it was like, it was the summer before 8th grade. So I think it was 93 or 94. And it was sick. They played Cal State Dominguez Hills, Metallica, Suicidal, and Fight, Rob Halford's band. And like, there's like 2 things I distinctly remember, which was like people like the crowd is packed up. It's like a full soccer field of people, and people would like drop fireworks. And so like people would kind of like panic and disperse. And then just like a raging circle pit would start. And then like the other thing I remember is just like a fucking bunch of vatos like yelling out, "Hey, play some old shit." You know, I was like, "Oh shit, this is fucking ill," you know? But yeah, I'm going with Subliminal, Suicidal. This is my pick. I wouldn't feel right not having a Suicidal song on my list. And I think that this song represents like the best of this like first incarnation of the band. And Ben, let's go to you for your number 7.
Well, I was going to tell the Suicidal story.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Lisa Fancher, who owns Frontier Records, who put out this record, was paid a visit by the FBI in 1983, I suppose, when this record came out, because I Shot the Devil was originally entitled I Shot Reagan. And like, you can't, like, Reagan had already been shot. I mean, he was shot in 81, so he was still president. And when you say stuff like that, I can't remember what tipped them off that this thing existed, but that's why the song is called "I Shot the Devil," even though he's singing "I Shot Reagan," because the original title of the song should be "I Shot Reagan" or was, and so she changed it because the FBI put heat on her. But I think once they came to her house, they realized like this person and this band have no intention of like harming the president. You know, they're a punk band, whatever. So that's the story.
Right. But I think that's just something that they do. Cause I remember like, you know, a handful of years ago, cause Obama was still president, like one of the UFC fighters like said something. I can't remember if it was an interview or it was just like he posted online and said something about like killing Obama, and like he got a visit. I think it's just like, that's the one thing you don't say, right? Like you don't yell fire in an airport and you don't like say that, you know, like you might just like someone finds out about it. It's like mandatory visit, you know, like let's check
there's
this
probably like
guy
a
out.
department. right department of the FBI who's like, all right, we got to visit this person now.
Well, what's really interesting about that is that when Rusty Metals and Broken Badges, the seminal debut LP of Over My Dead Body came out, we got visited by the FBI, the CIA, and MI5 for the song Maggie and Ronnie.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. You order that LP on Indecision Records. But
yep.
Yeah. Okay, Ben, let's go to you for your number 7 final pick.
All right, my final pick was going to be Forbidden Beat by Bad Religion, but we've talked about Suffer so friggin' much that I'm changing my pick. Although, man, we didn't talk about how great that record cover is with the kid on fire in the suburbs. Like, how perfect is that? Who hasn't felt like that kid before?
So good. I should probably get the tattoo one day.
Maybe.
I've seen that many times.
What the?
So I'm changing my pick to "We're Only Gonna Die," which is the first song off the first album. How could hell be any worse?
And you're going with the Long Beach band Sublime's cover of it.
Ooh, I saw them do it at Warped Tour 1 in Irvine.
Yeah.
But the one of the things that is so cool about this song in particular is it's basically like a sped up folk song. Okay, imagine being by a campfire with an acoustic guitar and just singing this song slowly. Is that what Sublime did? I don't even remember what their version is like. Did they slow it down?
I think it's just the song, but like it ends on a reggae part.
Oh, okay. Well, this is not a reggae song. They fucked up, but it is a folk song. So yeah, it's just like a sped up folk song, and then you have this breakdown in the middle, and there's fucking piano in it. It's kind of low in the mix, but there's like someone goes like hits all 88 keys of the piano going down, and then starts playing chords on the piano, and it's just this really and the lyrics are the same. It's just the same thing but slower, but it's just this like perfect kind of like if there was like a documentary about like and then hardcore happened in LA, like this should be the song that you hear.
Yeah, the only thing that drives me crazy is what you alluded to, which is like, one of the greatest lyricists of all time repeats a verse 3 times.
Oh, but do we know who wrote this song? I don't actually.
Doesn't matter. Either guy.
He could have wrote two more verses. Yeah.
Yeah. Brett or Greg both have it in them to write at least a couple more verses.
But really, Zach, would you think that would make the song better?
Yes.
I don't think it would.
I think at least one more.
Okay.
I think repeating it the third time drives me a little crazy. But yeah, maybe to do it. I don't know. Yeah, you're right, because they do it faster, and then they do like the slow part, and then they do it faster again.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's good. It's good. I agree with Ben. I think you're thinking of it as a songwriter, but thinking of it as just like a song, it's Ramonesy to do that. I don't know. It's great.
I think it does lend to Ben's idea of thinking about it as a folk song, like then doing it 3 times. Like that does work. Maybe that's gonna soothe it a little more for me. But yeah,
around the fire,
right?
Yeah, Greg Graffin wrote it.
Okay. Yeah, sick. Glad the first record got on there. And yeah, I mean, it's perfect too, because the album cover for a Los Angeles podcast, I mean, that's fucking Canon LA, right? So
that's Hollywood. Yep. Edward Culver took that photo.
Yeah. So cool.
I think the image we should use for this thing is all the boots with the bandanas around them.
Another Ed Culver original.
Boom. All right. Well, that's sick. Love your pick. And Joe, let's go to your final pick.
1986. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.
He's going Raining Blood.
No, I'm not really going to choose Raining Blood, but no. Possessions never meant anything to me. I'm not crazy. Well, that's not true. And a guitar and a dog named Bob pisses on my floor. That's right. I got a floor. So what?
Yeah.
Linoleum.
Yes. Yes, it made it.
I fucking love this goddamn song.
Hell yeah.
You know, I don't know if they're in San Francisco already living up there or not by this time. This is what 94, I think.
Yeah, they are. They gotta be at this point.
But Discogs says Los Angeles, California based punk band, so I'm going with that. So
hey, I'm all for gray area, Joe.
Yeah,
I'll allow it. If we allowed Benji to pick Skid Row as his California hardcore pick, then we'll allow NoFX to be LA. So plus this fucking Linoleum. Stoked to get on.
Dude, so good.
So good.
That's me with my metal meter.
Yep. It's the perfect modern punk recording for the 90s. You know? It's that Ryan Green fucking magic. Like when you mix speed metal with fucking Bad Religion. You know, you get this. It's something special. And also, you know, have you ever heard that album Rusty Metals and Broken Badges? The singer kind of sounds like this. But yeah. So
shout out Fat Mike. Shout out Fat Dan.
Yeah. Well, Dan's better dressed. We'll give him that for sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. One thing I will say, the break on this song, so cool, so catchy.
Yeah.
Sporting a pocket full of change.
Yeah, to like strip it all away like that, because this is like the most powerful sounding new school punk rock recording to like, and just to hang on the notes, like they don't do the chord progression very fast. They just hang on it while they're doing the do-da-da-da, 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 do-da-da-da. And then
shout out Sally.
Shout out. And then to strip it all the way out and to just go to like the one guitar with the singing. I mean, this is new school canon. Like, that's it.
Yep,
this is
exactly.
You know, it's like Mount Rushmore is just 4 linoleums. You know, it's fucking sick.
And then,
I mean,
definitely
maybe 3 linoleums and 1 Lori Myers. But yeah.
What about Sticking It in Your Eye? Isn't that one of your tracks?
I mean, it has honorable mention.
I think these are going to be really interesting lists for the listeners to vote on. And we really want to say thank you to all the listeners that did vote last time and put in their opinion of what songs we missed and on the Rev Pod. So it'll be really interesting when we put these up and see who everyone likes. But not going to lie, I think my list is quite strong this time.
Yeah, I
have linoleum.
Yeah, I get stoked on like the Instagram when like someone writes out a full paragraph. You know, like I'm down for the vote. I love the participation period, so please vote. But I love when like someone is like impassioned enough to like write out like a paragraph, because like I don't know if someone has a hack that they're on Instagram like on their computer, but like I'm on my phone and I hate to like write out long shit on my phone, you know? So it's like when you see a paragraph on Instagram, I'm like, fuck, dude, that dude meant it, you know? Respect. So I love that shit.
Well, yeah, they were so passionate about it, probably written in like 45 seconds, you know? They were just like, you forgot this, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
Should we shout out stuff we didn't mention, just like really quickly, just names, not go into each band, but just a bunch of band names that are important that for LA punk and hardcore?
Yeah, Ben, you got 30 seconds.
Go. Bags, Alley Cats, Eyes, Controllers, Chaos, Skulls, Shock, Gears, Gun Club, Grim, F Word, Rick Elric, Simple Tones, Clan, Screamers, Chiefs, Urinals, Minutemen, Deadbeats, Randoms, Black Randy, The Plugs, The Laughs, The Dogs, The Silencers, Legal Weapon, and Circle One.
Yeah, that's that bed shit you tune in for.
That's a good list.
Yeah, love it.
I'm going to say the Joneses too.
All right, shout out the Joneses. Daniel?
I was very close to having a Carry On song on here.
Wasted,
they didn't quite make it.
And Wasted Youth, Fuck Authority didn't get picked. Like it was,
LA Wasted Youth, absolutely.
it was there
Middle
for me.
class, out of vogue.
Yeah.
No, they're from Orange County.
Ooh, boom.
Ooh.
So yeah,
We'll do the
Dill-
Orange County one.
You're
Ever-
not playing.
ever-
Dills are from Carlsbad.
yep,
Oh shit!
yeah.
I
dude,
thought they were playing out of LA though.
that was
They were. That's where the scene was.
Okay.
that was my what the fuck when I was like doing this. I was like, what
they're
the
a San
fuck?
Diego
The Dills
band.
are from
Respect.
Carlsbad? I know. It's mind blowing.
But then they moved to San Francisco, which makes things even more confusing. And then they put out a 7-inch with the Canadian flag on it, which makes it even more confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone, Daniel will post the lists, and please vote on Instagram and maybe on Facebook, but more so on Instagram. Facebook just gets kind of confusing, and it's a terrible platform, and social media ruins your brain. Like, we got to move away from that. Like, let's just look at cat photos and food, like the things that bring us together, you know? I feel like Facebook tears us apart a little bit, and Instagram is like animals and fucking food. That's stuff we can
And
all
LA
enjoy.
hardcore list.
Yeah, an LA hardcore list. Like, that's the shit we all love. That's the stuff that can bring us together, you know?
Yep.
So make
Too
it happen.
bad Facebook owns Instagram.
I know. So whatever. Again, don't come to me for facts. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Love you. Hope you enjoyed the pod. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Bedge. Thank you, Daniel. And we'll get you on
Thank
next
you,
time.
Zach.
Thanks, sir.